right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Sky's the Limit call. My name is Stephen Yee. I am your host today. I'm excited to be able to have a good friend of mine, Rami Hamadi, on the call with us. And, you know, there's a club in Family First Life called Hall of Fame, and it's a big deal. You look at like pro sports, you look at like a lot of, industries, but like actors and entertainers, musicians, like there's always some type of like exclusive club. And at Family First Life, we have one of those. It's called Hall of Fame. And the cool part about Hall of Fame is it's not like this club where, the beginning of the year, Sean Mike goes, all right, we only have 10 jackets and only 10 people can win it, right? Hall of Fame is anybody can get it as long as you do the work to get there. And so that work is protecting 400 families in one calendar year from January to December. I was blessed to be in the Hall of Fame club, but unlike Rami, I didn't do it the proper way. I had to protect almost 80 families in December just to get in the club. So procrastinator, if you want to call it that, sure. But Rami got it done in 8 months. And so that's impressive. That means he's basically on track to basically pace for like 600 plus families in a year, which is amazing. And so I'm excited to be able to learn from him and basically have him share with everybody on the call, what it took. Because here's what I can tell you. Rami, and I'll ask you this to start. Do you think anybody can actually go Hall of Fame?
First of all, I'll say thank you, Steve, for having me on the call today. And yes, of course, I do believe anybody can Hall of Fame. It's not something that, you have to be special to do so. Anyone can, but like you just said, who's willing to truly put in the work to get to Hall of Fame? That's the real question.
Absolutely. And so that's the thing, right? Like I look at it and I go, if Rami, if you and I went to, a football game and we said, hey, who in here wants to be a millionaire? Everybody's hand will go up.
Sure.
When we leave, less than 2% of that will actually even achieve it or even get close to it. And I feel like that's the same thing here. And I'm not saying that it's impossible. Well, a lot of people don't know the work ethic, the lead flow, the mental mind games and the intestinal fortitude that it takes. Because it's like we look at it and go, okay, Hall of Fame, 400 families, divide that by 12, it's 33 families a month. Like we can do that math, but the math is that. However, there's so many things in between that. Like, for example, driving and getting no-showed, cancellations on policies, there's a death claim. And then you're like, oh my gosh, my lead flow is this. Like there's so many external factors that can dictate if we actually hit that or not, right? And so for everybody that hasn't had a chance to meet you yet, Rami, can you share with us how long you've been here, what'd you do before Family First Life, and all that good stuff?
Of course. So guys, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and now this is my second full year in the industry. Now, prior to Family First Life, I have had no sales experience whatsoever, like very, very minor things, coming out of like high school, coming out of first year of college, I'll go into high school, working as like basically doing cold calling, things like that for 2-3 weeks. That's about it, guys. So I first was born and raised here in Boston. Really quick, I lived here for 13 years. I'm Lebanese, so I moved back to Lebanon for a little bit. Came back, all my whole family did. They wanted to learn about my culture, learn about my country, where I'm from. I went there. It was a fun time, guys. But of course, I always wanted to come back, right? I was born and raised here. Boston, I do consider my home. So I ended up coming back at the age of 18, 19. When I came back, now, as you guys know, you guys know Marisa and Christina. I've known them quite some time. I've known them before my transition, like when I was in Lebanon. I've known them before I came back. So they've always been in my life. So when I came back, I would always see on Instagram, guys, all these posts. And mind you, I'm in the hospital. I worked in the medical field, and I was going to become a doctor. Now, at that point in time, I'm looking on Instagram, and I'm seeing the numbers. Before we could actually post anything, we could post like legit numbers. I was reading, X amount of families helped, X amount of families helped. And at first, I was taken back by it. I didn't believe it. I'll be very honest, transparent. Marisa Christine will tell you from the day, I didn't really understand it at first. So I kind of stood back and kind of watched. Over time, I kept, DMing Marisa, DMing Christina, and saying, hey, what is this? Like, what do you guys do? They say we own our insurance agency. We own an insurance agency. I'm like, okay, you own it yourself. Now, Steven, I remember asking Marisa this 4 different times, literally. So you own your agency? And she's like, yes, I own it. I didn't understand it because I know Marisa, like I said, from 12, 15 years ago. So I'm trying to think about, okay, so like what happened? Like, what are you guys doing now? How do you own this agency? And tell me a little bit more about it. So again, I'm working in the hospital. I'm just kind of talking back to Marisa now. We reconnected, and as people know, she's my significant other, and we're dating. So at that point in time, now I'm, coming back home every time, and I'm seeing her work, and I'm seeing all the amount of hours she's putting in, I'm saying, okay, this is legitimate. Like, this is real. Let's kind of see like what I can do with it. She's never pushed me. She never once told me you have to do this, come do this. But she always said, whenever you're ready, just let me know. Her and Christina always told me, you have a support here. Anything you need, let me know. And it's really easy, Rami, but you have to put the work in. So, guys, I mean this, no exaggeration. I'm working in the hospital full time. I transitioned into part time while I'm working full time at the hospital. When I came into the business, guys, my first month I helped 17 families. Now, why did I do that? All I did, guys, was I moved fast and I broke things. Marisa always told me move fast and break things. So all I did, guys, was have a lead stack in front of me. I picked up the phone, yeah, I picked up the phone and started calling. That was it, guys, and the rest is history. That's a little bit of my background, so I know I kind of went through it. But I was in the school full time, left school, went into the medical field, worked in the hospital full time, and then reconnected with Marisa. And at that point, I said, hey, this is legit, this is serious, and I want to give it a try. My first weekend, I got paid, and as you know, once we get that belief check, it's legitimate. You see it from there, and from then I just took off to the races.
I love it. So when you first, I mean, by the way, you're blessed to be able to work with such amazing people, by the way,
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't have that luxury. But I say that because, when you started getting on the phone and started dialing, initially you're going to get objections on the phone.
Of course.
What was your natural thought, and how did you overcome it? Like in the beginning, it sucks, and then you go, well, this doesn't suck as much as whatever you did in the hospital, whatever I did for work. You know what I mean? And then you learn how to embrace it, and then it becomes normal, and then it becomes really, really easy, right? Like, how did that transition happen for you when it came to like doing the activity of dialing?
Of course. So you actually kind of gave me a good segue, like you mentioned, because I had Marisa and Christina. I had a really good structure and support when I came to this office. Now that's where the podcast room is. Before the podcast room was there, it was an office, right? For dial, I would go in there, and then they made me keep my door open and dial. My very first day, guys, like mind you, like I was kind of nervous, like so, like me and Marisa were dating, but mind you, like I'm in the business, I'm looking at like, all right, like I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't know, like, hey, am I gonna screw the phones up? But they said no, it doesn't matter. Keep the door open, and we have to hear you. Because I kept my door open, I was able to have that constant correction. Like we always tell our new agents, go into a work spouse location, go into an office, hop on a Zoom dial meeting, so you're able to hear people overcome objections. Guys, it sounds cliche, but that's all I did. I kept my door open. I just kept dialing. Whenever they would hear me say something the wrong way, they would come in and they'd say, hey, Rami, I hear you saying this. This is how you should say it. And to this day, guys, even me being a Hall of Fame back-to-back producer, I still have the same script from the very same dude.
I love it.
Yeah, and I still use it. So what I did was I used the script. They said, hey guys, use this script and just focus on it. And then I kept my door open. And then what kind of really got me to transition was understanding there's a system in place. It wasn't just, having, the proper support around me here physically. I knew that no matter what, there was trainings online. I had to make myself like a rolling university per se, right? Like we say, we're in the car in the field, always be listening into YouTubes and, audibles, things like that to keep your income producing activity high. That's what I was taught from day one. So I was taught that, hey, you have to keep very, very high activity. You have to hit the phones, you have to dial. And in order to kind of have that transition, I made sure that I was watching the TNM. I was watching the new agent boot camps. I was looking on downlink videos to say, all right, how are people overcoming these objections? And that's really what helped me the most get through the transition, was reaching up and out, speaking to my uplines. Paul was around back then, talking to Marisa, Christina, and then watching videos, just literally just looking at the trains and seeing, okay, if I want to hit Hall of Fame, I want to, like, let's say I watch a Steve G video, he's running 100K a month, that's 100 families a month. If I want to make sure I can do that, I want to understand, okay, what is he doing, right? Like you said, lead flow, organization, non-negotiables, limiting beliefs that he may have or may not have had that he had in the very beginning. I had to kind of separate those and kind of organize it in my mind, and then just kind of remove all of that and just focus on the system and just plug in and get going.
I love it. So now that you've gone Hall of Fame, right, and you did it in such a short period.
Thank you.
If I was a brand new agent and I go, all right, I don't know what Hall of Fame is. I want to go Hall of Fame because it sounds like it's pretty cool. What are the action steps that I need in order to go Hall of Fame? What lead flow am I getting from you? What schedule am I running? Like, what are you teaching a brand new agent to go Hall of Fame in 8 months?
Of course. So in order to go Hall of Fame in 8 months, guys, it's really simple to follow. And if you're new agent, I write this down, guys. So the first thing you're going to need is proper phone script. You have to know your phone script. It's not, you can definitely buy leads and work them, but with having a proper, I always say master your lane. So all my agents master your lane. So whether it be online, Facebook final expense, a mailer, an address, whatever the case may be, master it. So find that phone script and tailor it to that lead, and then literally role play it 30 times over and over every single night until you can literally say it out loud to yourself without reading it. Now, will you sound a little off saying it? That's fine. I'm not telling you you're gonna sound perfectly like fluid saying it, but I'm telling you is memorize it, right? Have it memorized. Just so we tell the new agent when they're taking the course for licensing, memorize your exams to get through the say the exam. Same exact aspect, guys. So I understood that I have to memorize this. So all day, just memorize your script. After you think that, okay, you have a pretty good understanding of what the script's going to say, you have to have leads, guys. Leads is our inventory. So think of it this way. In order for me to hit that 33 families mark, I have to have leads to book appointments. Without the appointments, I don't hit the families. Without appointments, I don't have leads, right? They all go hand in hand. So I understood that every Monday and every Thursday, I had to have 100 brand new leads every dial day. That does not mean I'm talking about exclusive leads, leads you just purchased off Happy Agent, all these Facebook vendors, things like that. Then on the ILC, guys, just 100 brand new leads to you. They could be aged, whatever the case may be. The point is, though, when I'm looking down on these papers, I don't want to read the name, Carmen Batista 18 different times. I want to see new names. Seriously, because that way for me psychologically, I know, guys, that when I'm getting through my list, I'm not weighing on myself, because I'll be very direct, guys. We all have agents, right? They'll buy 50 leads or 100 leads one time and work them over and over again and tell us that, oh, the leads don't work. It's no, it's either A, you're not really working leads, you don't have enough leads to begin with. So I knew that I had to, have enough leads. In addition to that, guys, not just dialing, I actually sit here and dial. So it's really easy, to buy a phone, get leads, come into an office and sit down, but actually sitting and dialing at 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., making sure I had my 15 appointments over 2 days. So guys, I'm all in home. Let me preface this, I'm 100% face-to-face. So when I say 15 appointments, that's for an in-home face-to-face. If you're doing virtual over the phone, triple that number. And I mean that, triple it right away, because then double the resources. It's a fact, that's how it's gonna be. So I did the full-time schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every Monday, every Thursday, I would come into the office here in Boston, in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, and I would just dial. I would dial from 8 a.m. until I had my appointments. And guys, I would consistently dial until I had the appointments, like today. I still have all my appointments after this call. I'm going to continue to dial because I know that I need these numbers to get to the number I want to be. Like, I want to cross 600 families. So I know I have to keep the pace. That leads on to the third thing. You have to keep momentum, guys. So when you start writing as a new agent, and let's say you're helping 10, 12, 15 families, and you're going off that learning curve, don't slow down. Don't think of it like, now because I got paid a lot more money than I had before, I'm able to kind of go out and, have fun, buy things, rent things. Don't do that, guys. Take the money, invest back in the business. What helped me the most too is understanding this is a business day one. From the first moment I entered the business, I understood that I am 1099 contractor as a producer, and I am an agency owner. Even on my only self, I'm my agent. That's it. I am my business. So I understood that when I got paid from the carriers, instead of me going on vacation, buying things I really want to buy, I would reinvest in the business. I would double down on my lead flow, because guys, once you crack the code, it's pretty simple. And I mean that. Once you get rolling, all it is lead flow. Lead flow is everything in this business. Once you're able to get in the home, handle objections, even on the phones, and just meet families, even first and virtual, all you have to do is have enough leads. And I knew that every week, if I could increase my lead spend, even though it was scary, I was happy to do so, because I knew by looking at ones like Steven, looking at all the integrity partners and all the top producers before me, they all say the same thing. More leads, more spend, more families helped. And in the beginning, I was scared, guys. But then again, I always say this now, the person who hasn't cut like a 5, 10K check, they're always gonna be scared too. Once you cut that 5, 10, 15K check, it's easier to cut a 20, 25, and 30K check. So keep that mindset that, just because in the very beginning you're comfortable at 500 a month or 500 a week budget does not mean you stay there. It means no, you start doubling. You go to $1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and to lead flow, guys. Right now, to hit the Hall of Fame in 8 months, I'll be very transparent. I spend between probably a lot of you like, oh my god, but I spend like probably $12,000 to $15,000 a month on leads, sometimes more. I run primarily mortgage, so it all depends on the mail drops, things like that. But that's what I'm spending, guys, to issue $50,000, $60,000, to issue 50, 60 families, sorry, Stephen, in order to kind of, make sure that I hit those markers, because I know, again, leads are my inventory and their families, guys. They need to be helped. If I look at a lead, I look at like my family. When I'm looking at them, like, if that's my family, I need someone to call them, get them on the phone and explain exactly what this is about, and saying, you filled a request out to help your family. It's my job just to explain what you qualify for. After that, it's a wrap. It's easy. It's set and done because they need the help. They filled the form out. They went online. They made the request. If they don't trust us, they don't believe in us, that's when we kind of lose that appointment.
I love it. So you said some really good things. So I'm going to piggyback on a few of them. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was this. You said that you spend about 12 to 15 grand a month and everybody's like, right? Let me be very clear. Let me be very clear. Okay. In order for you to go Hall of Fame in 8 months, you have to do 50 families a month. That's the math, right? 50 times 8 is 400. And you're spending 12 to 15, which is, if you look at it, you're spending $1 to make 4 to 5, right? Here's what people did not understand. And this is where I learned this from Sean Mike. There's a lot of people, Rami, that want to play businessman. They're not businessmen. They want to play businessman. And they want to use funky terms like P&Ls and balance sheets and ROI. And they want to use these terms. And they have no damn idea how business is actually ran. And here's what I mean. There's an agent that I worked with. He protected 7 families in 1 week and he spent $1,000, right? And he was pissed. And so he goes, my ROI is 700%. It's better than yours. And I'm like, right. But Colton and I write 12 to 15 and we spend 2 to 3. So our ROI percentage is not your percentage because ours is 1 to 4, 1 to 5. But you net 6, I net 12. You're stupid. I'm not. Because that's what I mean. Like, so many people want to play businessman. It's like, dude, I don't care what my ROI is. As long as I don't lose money on the leads, I'm game. Right. But like, my goal is to stack cash, meaning to the point where like people always said like, why does Colton write so much? I'm like, because his lead bill is twice the size of yours. He's not necessarily better. And I would say this if Colton's online, by the way. It's not that Colton's better. He has more opportunities. And so like what happens, Rami, the difference between you, Colton, and a lot of other producers here at Family First Life is if you called me and I gave you so much pushback on the phone, because you have so many leads, you don't have to book me. But there's agents that go, I only got, like you said, I only got these 50. This client rescheduled me 4 times. Let me go see them again for the 5th time. It's because you need more leads. You know what I mean? And so like, that's what I learned very early on. Like people were like, they're like, well, how much did you spend when you went home? I spent 100 G's. My leads was 100 G's. I wrote 400, deposited 5 with overrides and on all that stuff and personal production, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. Right. And then there's people that go, well, my ROI is bigger than yours. I'm like, my check is bigger than yours. You know what I mean? And so like, that's one of the things that I want brand new agents to understand. It's not about ROI because you're brand new in this business. You have no idea what you're even doing. The goal is to get profitable. And then once you can get profitable, then it's about scaling. I had this agent when I was working in Andrew Taylor's office. Check how funny this is. He walks into my office. He goes, Steve, I protected 20 families this month. I'm like, awesome, dude. Congratulations. I'm like, what do you need help with? And he's like, dude, I just can't figure it out, man. I can't get to 40. And I'm like, what do you spend in leads? He was like 4 a month. And I'm like, he's like, what? I'm like, spend 8 in a month. 4 gets you 20, 8 gets you 40. Like, it's math. It's math. And he was like, he literally like looked at me like trying to seek this like deep answer. And I'm like, no, dude, it's double down your lead flow. You double your appointments and you double your production. Like, it's not that hard. But see, this is the other thing that people don't get though. So like, let's say you protect 20 families. After your lead bill, it's like 15. You got to pay your mortgage. You got to pay your car payment. You only net like 7. But if I wrote 40, right? I only have to pay 1 mortgage, 1 car. Like, you write 40, take my lead spend of 10 away. So I'm at net 30, subtract my living expenses. I'm like, now I'm net like 23, 25. You see what I mean? Like, you only, like, that's what I taught Brandon Kitchens. I was like, dude, you don't pay a mortgage every time you write 20 grand. You pay a mortgage once a month. So like, the more you write in that month, the more you get to keep, because after your baseline's hit, everything is for you to keep. Right. Yes. And that's what brand new agents don't understand. And that's what I want to get them to understand. And so you said something that was really, really good. So you said, hey, I'm a businessman. And what that basically means is like, just because I get a deposit doesn't mean I'm going to go on vacation. I learned this very early on too, Rami, The reason why capitalism works is because of instant gratification. There's a lot of people that go buy a new car when they don't need to because they want to. And they go on vacation because they want to. And they go buy things that are very, very expensive, like brand name stuff that they can't afford to impress people they don't like with money they don't have because they want to. And it's like that's the reason why it works, because they run that rat race. You know what I mean? And so like I challenge you guys as brand new agents, just defer it for like a year. That's it. Because after that, you make decisions, whatever you want, right? Like I'm assuming you and Marisa went on a very, very nice vacation recently. Like, but here's the thing: you can afford it. You didn't have to think about your like. If you get back from vacation,
and mind you, it was our first vacation in literally so long. We were not on vacation the whole time. Like the whole time, we never see each other. Not one vacation, guys. I mean, let's see, not one. And we did it for on purpose. We want to make sure, like you said, we're working. Like we're not here to go on vacation. But I always told this: work hard, guys. In your 20s, 30s. So you can play in your 40s and 50s. If you play in your 20s and 30s, what the hell are you guys going to do in your 40s and 50s? It doesn't work that way, guys. You have to work to play later. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so let's say, okay, so you're talking about you're spending about 12 to 15 grand a month on leads, which is normal, by the way, for anybody that wants to know. What type of leads are you getting? How many lead vendors are you working with? Because one of the things I always said, Rami, is like, I would never let one lead company behold my entire business.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way.
What about you?
I'm the same way. So I believe in diversification, guys. Truly, like Stephen just put it. Now, I don't really look at it that way, but I kind of look at it like I don't want if one company goes down, or let's say I don't want someone controlling like not my hour, but I don't want someone controlling my business straight up, straight like that. So what I do lead with I do mortgage mail drops. I'm very direct. I do a lot of mortgage campaigns and mail drops. Not one single BPL on, just because in this area when I joined, they've all been taken, and I've been so successful enough that I just haven't touched the BPLs because I don't think I need to. Right. I have mail drops, which are call-in drops. I do internet leads. I add those in as a mix or supplemental. Then I do Facebook campaigns for final expense, and then I do mail drops for final expense. Now, the main thing about when I drop mail, guys, is you have to understand that when I entered the business, I entered two and a half years ago, right? So it's a little bit different of the type of business we're in. It was all face to face. The virtual really wasn't there. So I really focused on mortgage, like where I'm in Mass, right in Boston. Another really primarily heavy demographic for mortgage. So it was available mail drop wise. So that's why my campaigns are designed that way. But as a new agent coming into the business, that may not be the best thing for you. And I truly, truly mean that. It all depends on your area, demographic, target. It all depends on like the income. There's a lot of variables you can look at, right? The main point is you want to have as many at bats as possible. So for me, I do mortgage, I do final expense, I do internet leads. My main flow is mortgage because that's what I came in under. That's what I know. Like I said, master one lane, guys. I master it and I focus it. That's it. I know I can write 50, 60 off mortgage, so I focus on that. I then add in the final expense and the internet leads or the Facebook expense campaigns because I want to make sure, again, that let's say I get no-showed, right? Let's say that I don't have a full calendar or the mail drops are becoming really slow, guys, which some weeks they have. Some weeks I don't get any leads, truly, not one. And people are like, you're spending this much, I'm not getting a lead. But I don't look at it in that small 1 week. I look at it on a month basis. Like Steven said, if I'm writing, if I'm spending $15,000 in leads and I'm issuing 40 families, to me, that's 25 clear profit. So it's all I'm thinking about in the moment is how much did I spend and how much do I end up resulting with? I don't look at the small micro details at all. Even on a week-to-week basis, if I don't issue any business on Thursday and Friday, on Friday and Saturday, I don't care because I have Tuesday and Wednesday to make up for it. As long as on those 2 days, I'm making up my numbers. So I'm working majority of those leads because I truly believe, guys, you have to be diverse because you'd be surprised. Some final expense appointments I go to, they end up being a mortgage. Some mortgage appointments I go to, they end up being a final expense, right? It all depends on what that family's need truly is. And it doesn't matter what the lead type is, guys, because I can go online and fill out a request and think, all right, I'm looking for a term life insurance, right? For that example. But in reality, I need whole life insurance, right? In reality, like what I'm looking for is not what I need. So the true matter is it does not matter what kind of lead it is. What matters is that one, it's a family who needs help, right? Let's have to look at it. A family who needs the help. Get on the phone with them, get in the door with them, and see what they need for help. And the good thing is, guys, being brokers and being with a company like Integrity and Family First, having all of these carriers accessible, it's very hard to not help somebody. Even guys, when they tell you, I want level benefit, immediate, and all they offer is GIWL, you explain to them, like, guys, this is the best thing for you because you can invite 10 Ramis in the house right now. 10 Ramis can act 10 different ways. One person, we all can say 10 different things, but if this is all you qualify for, that's all you qualify for. So what's the point to talk anymore, right? But why go look around? And I make it very abundantly clear, guys, as well when I'm in the home. But I keep that mindset when I have the leads because, again, I don't care what type of lead it is. I know it's a family who needs help. And I know if I have as many of those as possible, I'm going to hit my numbers as fast as possible. So that's my lead flow.
I love it. So that's funny because that's exactly what I ran. I like people are like, don't you only run this? I'm like, no, I only want an appointment that knows I'm coming over for life insurance.
Exactly.
It's a final expense, life, lead, mortgage. I really don't care. If they know I'm coming over, I'm game, right? So it's funny you say that because I'm like literally listening to you. I'm like, that's something I would say. And then I was thinking about it. You're like, if I only do 40, but I spent 15, I'm like, I'm net 25. Rom, you want to hear a crazy story? You want to know when the first P&L statement I ever ran on my business was? Being in business for 5 years. You want to know when the first one I ever ran it was? When Integrity asked me for it. Like I literally never looked. No idea. And then there's people that are like nowhere near that level, and they'll run a P&L every 3 days. What's my cash flow? And I'm like, not once again, that whole playing business versus being in business thing. Like, I just knew, like, I can feel that I was doing well. I didn't have to look at a number or a piece of paper for like validation. You know what I mean? But it's so funny because I was just thinking about that. I was like, when was the first time I actually ran a P&L? Like, I think it was like when they asked me for it because I didn't even know how to get it, honestly. So cool. So now that you run face to face, you do a lot of your premium there. You run the traditional schedule. I'm assuming dial on Monday, run Tuesday, Wednesday, dial on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 15 appointments every 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
How long are your appointments with your clients? And like, how do you account for drive time and all that stuff? Getting no show? Do you door knock? Like, what does all that look like?
Of course. So I'm probably the worst person to ask how long your appointments are. You can ask Christina and Lisa that. I'm gonna talk with Steven. So if I'm in the home, my appointments, I'll be honest, so they ran sometimes back in the day. I'm trying to bring it down. So I'll be very blunt and realistic. My average appointment is like an hour 20. And that's because I talk a lot, but now I'm starting to slow it down to 45 minutes. My average drive time, guys, I live in Mass. It's not a huge state, so I can get from one side of the county to the other within 30 to 45 depending on traffic. Some appointments are within 25 minutes, but my typical appointment's been like an hour and 20. Drive time in 30 minutes. And now let's say I have 8 appointments in that one day, all on Tuesday. Tomorrow, I have 8 appointments. Let's say I get to my 9 o'clock a.m. appointment and they're not there. They no show me. Now, instead of, I take this from Marisa all the time because Marisa's always said, instead of feeling bad for yourself and sitting in a 7-Eleven parking lot or a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, here in Boston, there's tons of Dunkins, not too many Starbucks, but a lot more Dunkin' Donuts. Instead of doing that, just go door knock. Seriously, take out some leads and door knock. So what I did, I took from Lisa, every no-show, I have 5 door knocks available. I have Road Warrior right on my phone, guys, which is an application that we download to make sure that when I'm entering these addresses, it's going to take traffic time and optimize the fastest route possible. So it's called Road Warrior, right? Talk to your upline, they're gonna help you out with that. But what I do is I plug it into Road Warrior and I go through it. I go through all my 5 door knocks. I show up to the door. I knock on it, and guys, I wear the same. No joke. I have like a Calvin sweater or like a polo I wear. I wear that every single day in the field, just because for me it's easier. I swear every time. Look at every picture on Telegram, you're gonna see it's the same exact sweater. Like, damn, Rami does the same. I do it, guys, because for me, I just know I'm there to help the family, and it makes my day go so much easier. So what I'll do is I'll basically go to the home, I'll door knock, walk up to it. I'll say, "This is Rami Hamadi. Been trying to call you guys several times regarding requesting me for life insurance. I see you guys don't really answer the phone too often. Don't worry, I won't answer a number I don't get either. I don't recognize either." They laugh, and I show them my license. I always have it right in front of me. And I say, "I'm the guy assigned to you. It's my job to explain this information to you. Do you have 15 minutes or do I, put it down my calendar?" I use Paulo Clean's door knocking video, guys. Go on YouTube. Paulo Clean's door knocking video is a great video for door knocking. And I'll go there and I will door knock. And then, guys, when you get to the door, now, recently, as of late, I'll be honest, I don't have to door knock as much because my points are not there and things like that. But in the beginning, I had to, guys, because they were not showing up. I was a new agent. Like, sure, I started off really well. I had a quick learning curve. But outside of that, I knew that I'd have to door knock. And if I wasn't door knocking, I was dialing in between appointments. And always, guys, go to your earliest appointment. Always go to your latest appointment because your biggest sales guys are always going to be in your earliest and the most latest appointment. There was literally a time recently where I didn't want to go. Like I was really pissed off. I'll be like honest, guys. I was having a tough day, let's say the least, right? And I just did not want to go. Complaining, whining. So I talked to her. She's like, just go, Rami. Don't worry about it. Go. I'll see you when you get home. I go to the home, guys. I ended up writing 5 people in that one home. It was literally probably the biggest sales legit of the month. And I was like, wow, and I didn't want to show up here. And I thought to myself, what about every new agent who had that same exact feeling I had? But the only difference is I've been in the business now for almost a year and a half, right? Like I've already written, I've already experienced this, and I still have the same exact feeling. How do they feel like? So then I always try to remember myself, show up and leave from the front, right? Always go to the last appointment so I can show that agent that has the same feeling. I'm a human. I feel the same thing you're feeling. I'm experiencing the same thing you're experiencing. We're going through the same negative effect or negative reinforcement that all new agents and even top producers go through. But the only difference is how that new agent would end up, driving home and just not forgetting about the appointment. I go to the appointment and I say, all right, yeah, I'm here to help you guys with your life insurance. How you guys doing tonight? And guys, it always works out. So keep that in mind. So I know with that little rabbit hole, but again, so I do my 8 to 8 day. I have 8 appointments. I would door knock 5 leads for every missed appointment or no show. While I'm driving, I'll do one of 3 things. I'll either talk to agents because I'm currently trying to build my business. I want to build downlines and make sure they're successful, guys. I don't just worry about me. I care about my team big time. Secondly, I try to always make sure that I'm listening to things that help me, either talking to Christina, Marisa, any person, any manager, integrity partner, anyone that can really help me on that day. That can truly, like, if I'm having a problem, having a concern, I'm gonna reach out to somebody that I know has that answer. Or I'm gonna plug in a YouTube video. Just gonna, set my mind right. I always talk about getting your mind right because mindset in this business is key, guys. It really is. You can have a full day of appointments. If you don't have the proper mindset, it doesn't matter how many appointments you have, right? So I always try to listen to something that, sets my mind right. I listen to music in the morning. I'll be honest, and not for a elongated period of time, but I listen to music to kind of get me going, pumping the blood a little bit, and then boom, I'll start to, listen to some audibles. And then, like I said, I'm dialing important appointments. There've been many times, guys, I'll get a lead sent to my phone. I'll have like a lead come in the ILC, or I'll purchase leads from the ILC, age leads, and I'll dial them on my way to my next appointment. And I'll book 2 appointments that same day or for the next day. There's been many days, guys, where, I'm dialing here to 9 p.m. and I don't have my 16 appointments. But instead of feeling bad for myself and waiting for Thursday for my new dial day, that's not how I think. Yeah, Monday and Thursday are my dial days, but I can dial every day. Like, it's my business. If I need money, I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call a lead. If I want to go see someone, I'm knocking on the door saying, hey, I got this life insurance lead from you. You never answer my phone call. Can I help you? Seriously, guys. And I know I'm making it seem like, oh, it's nonchalant, but it is just like that. It's super, super simple. It's about how much work are you truly willing to do. So I'll just dial, guys, and then I'll get more appointments, and that's what happens, guys. It's like a cycle. And then you'll have people who no-showed you call you back, and then rebook for the next week. And then instead of waiting on that person to call them and reset them, I already have new appointments that day. So then I never really lost out. So the next week I'm setting myself up because now I kind of know that person may lay down in a way. For the ones that call you back and like beg you back, basically come back over. It's not always like that, but that's my fuel day per se. And I'm going until I see all my appointments. Simple as that. It takes 10 o'clock at night. It takes 10 o'clock at night. My mentor always told me, love the ones you're with. Like always keep that in mind. You never know what can happen, when you're in the home with them. So just make sure you're always serving that family and looking out for them.
Dude, like nobody sets an appointment for like 7:30 at night for you to come over to their house or like an appointment at that time if they had zero intention to buy. You know what I mean? Like I learned that really like you said earlier, the biggest sales are always the ones in the evenings and sometimes in the morning. It's the same for me because I knew that if I can get through the middle part of the day, the lull, like I got to be here still, and I can get to like the last 3 appointments could literally save the month in just that day. You know what I mean? Like I remember like you were talking about it. When I was running in Southern California, like I had so many times where I'm like, oh my gosh, 0 for 4 to start the day. Like this sucks. I'm going to give my leads away. And then I give my schedule away to like one of my agents and they go close, like protect 6, 7 families. And I'm like, dang it. Like the difference was I warmed it up for them because the morning appointments, the afternoon appointments are usually like the lull. The freaking guys that set you at like 5, 6, 7 when they just got off of work and they want to see their family, but they're letting you come over to their home. Those are the ones that are going to buy because you're interrupting their routine. So they obviously mean business. You know what I mean? And it was funny because I learned this from, I think you mentioned earlier, Paul. In the beginning, I was so selfish because I was like, I don't feel like going. That appointment is an hour out of my way, right? Even though I said it, like it was an inconvenience for me. And I was very selfish and I wouldn't go. And afterwards, like, yeah, I would go, like, once you become a top producer, you understand that, like, all right, that's the slight edge decision that I can make. I'm going to go see that family. You see the family, you protect the family, and you make money, which is great. But then I learned like another step. I took it away from money and it took it away from me. And I was like, well, what if I didn't go and that client died? And that spouse didn't get a check from the insurance company because it was an inconvenience for me. Because they filled out a form, I called them, I spoke to them, and then I no-showed them. Right. And like once I had that in my mind, like I had a rule of thumb, Rami, when I was in the field, I have to hit your door. I have to hit your door. Even if I'm early or if I'm late, I have to hit your door just to be able to say that I did. And once I had that, man, my production went through the roof because I can be 3 hours early, but shoot, I'll leave you a sticky note like UPS does that says missed delivery. You know what I mean? Rather than like just completely ghosting you, but like those things kept me on track. And that's what I wanted to ask you last as we wrap up this call. The mental battle of going Hall of Fame is very interesting because of this. Family First Life, and especially with Family First Life, but even in the insurance business, it's the only business that I can ever see where people lose perspective and get ungrateful really, really quickly. Let me explain to you what I mean. I used to coach high school basketball. I made like $20,000 a year, which is nothing, right? And then I'll go run in the field and I'll have like 7 families helped a week and be like, dude, my life sucks. And then I got to like take a step back and be like, bro, you used to make 20,000 for the year. You made 7 in 2 days. Chill out, dude. And we lose perspective of where we came from. And we get ungrateful because we have this standard. And it's not bad to have standards, but like if you know anything about running, Hall of Fame, you're never going to hit your mark every time. You're going to have good weeks. You're going to have good days, bad weeks. But you like the months always average out, right? And that's the other thing that I realized is like, how did you personally stay, mentally strong to go through all that? Because there's so many days like I had to like, kick myself in the ass to be able to remind myself like, dude, life doesn't suck, bro. I know you're 3 hours from home. Get over it, right? But like in your situation, like you're getting no-showed, you're calling Marisa and going, man, like I don't want to go. And then I know she's in your ear to go like, no, go to the last one. I'll see you at home, whatever it is. What things did you battle with mentally and how did you overcome them?
Of course. So I'm normal guys like everyone else. Like I have no demons. Like we all have things we do deal with on a day-to-day basis, and we all have stressors and variables and just intrinsic factors, even extrinsic factors, like factors outside of our control, right? And one thing that I've kind of cemented in my brain is a saying. It's basically if it's not going to affect me 3 days from now, I'm not going to care about it. And I mean it. Like 72 hours from today, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to talk about it. It's no longer going to be on my brain. It's going to be corrected, resolved. I'm not going to stress it. And guys, 98% of the things we do in today's generation, today's life, is falls under that umbrella. If you guys truly take a step back right now, just think after this call, think of how many things that can really happen to F your day up. And I really mean in the worst way possible. Like truly think about it. I know for me, I'll be honest, death of a family, death of a loved one, right? Either, if Lebanon tips upside down, which is the process of doing so, but not yet. Truly, guys. And then maybe let's say some financial stress, but one to a point where I'm saying like, not, the account's getting low. I'm talking about like you're in the negative, you can't pay your bills, you gotta do a GoFundMe, you gotta, call the banks and they're declining you from loans. Like the whole world's ending. If those situations are not occurring, guys, we're in a vehicle today that we can easily get out of any trouble we're in just by keeping our mind right and by actually doing the work in front of us. And one other, again, I always go back to this, but I had really good mentors, guys. Having Marisa and Christine and Paul really helped me understand there's gonna be a lot of highs and a lot of lows. Now I tell you guys, it's the new agent on the call. Reach out to the person who hired you. They're there for a reason. And now if they're new as well, reach to the person above them. Think who hired them. You're gonna find somewhere, guys, someone in that hierarchy where that they've experienced what you're experiencing. So if you don't have the mental fortitude like I do to tell myself, literally, if it's not going to affect me 3 days from now, I don't care about it. And may that be kind of mean at times, and may that be kind of distant at times, sure. But at the same time, I know in my head, that's what I have to be to kind of get through the harsh stuff and kind of get through what I need to do. If you can't do that, find someone that can. Talk to them, bounce off those ideas with someone, have a running buddy in the field. That's the biggest thing I know helps renew agents and me specifically is having people I can talk to in the field when I'm getting no-showed. Because all you need sometimes is to just vent it, like you said, when I would call Marisa and just speak to her and just say, hey, this is what's going on. If I didn't do that, I might have just went home, right? I might just continue to keep on driving. Because I reached out, to the support system, I reached out to my upline and I kept plugging into the system. I knew that, hey, no matter what, I'm going to make this work. And in order to get through the phones and to really understand that, hey, how can I sit here and dial all day? Again, you made a perfect point, Stephen. If you did not go to that door, if you don't touch on that door, what if that family's not there, right? So what if they're there, but you don't help them? They die the next day. That's on us guys. Literally, I understand there's sales in this, we're selling some life insurance product, but it's not. There's a reason why it's family first life. We're here to help families, guys. We get paid handsomely to do so. Yes, we do. But the point isn't to go sell, right? That's not why you see on these videos me coming out here telling you guys how to sell and what to sell. No, it's the main fact is this is a family who needs help. So if you can keep that in mind, it doesn't matter how many no-shows you get, how many screw yourselves you get, how many go eat drywall you get. You're going to know that, hey, you know what? These are people who need my help. And I'm going to sit here, I'm going to get through my list because I purchased these leads and I know that their families need to be helped. I need to feed my family too, and I need to feed these families if they have the worst that ever happens to them. That's why they make this request. I keep that in my mind and I continue to go through it. And if you guys can't do that, well, write it on your board. Literally, I have sayings in the phrase I write on my board to remind myself what to do and who I am as a person. So just do that, guys. I do affirmations. Just write it down and say, hey, you're the only person that can help that family. You're the only person that can do this job to your best ability, and just go out there and do it. And if you find yourself getting down, reach up and out. And I mean that. If you're talking to somebody that's bringing you down, screw them. Seriously, say, hey, I can't talk to right now. Say, I just can't do this. Not what I need right now. I got to talk to somebody else. And go on to that next person. So you can finally find, like I said, someone that can kind of help and pull you from the mud. And then that same person that can humble you and say, something hey, you're running 40, 50 a month, but you're not God's gift to earth. The whole world can end literally. You can right now. I can go outside. I can get hit by a car, and I hope to God that never happens to me. But I go walking and get hit by a car, and what am I doing now? Right? What if I can't produce anymore? Who feeds myself? That's why I'm building my team. So always keep that in mind, right? So this my point. My point in saying that is basically don't take anything for granted. Really go out there and kind of attack your goals, achieve your goals, and don't be afraid or don't be ashamed to ask for help. We all need help. Every single person does in this whole life consistently, right? When we're a kid, adolescent, even as we get older. There's a reason why I'm not going to get into medical, but if you really think about it, every point in our life, there's either a structure or a group that's there to help you, whether it be preschool or kindergarten. Then it goes into adolescence where it's high school and then it's colleges. Then you get older and then it ends up being, you can talk to therapists. I'm being serious. There's all these structures in place because
That's actually really
people
good.
need guidance. Exactly. People need guidance and people need to hear it. Exactly. And that's the whole goal, guys. Just get out there and help those families. Because again, they are families who need the help. And if you tell the leads suck, call your upline, have them dial them, and I guarantee you, they will make sales. Just like Steven said, he gave us downline leads and they closed on them. It's all a mindset. Reset your mind, and you're going to be great in this business.
I love it, man. Well, Rami, I appreciate you, dude, because this business is so simple in so many ways. And the physical activity of just getting leads, calling them, showing up to their house and selling them insurance is really easy. But the internal battle of what we say to ourselves, do we believe we can do it or not? If we're worthy to even be able to do it, those things, that's why I always say, man, the biggest enemy is the enemy. The conversation you have between the 6 inches between your ears is a big deal because that will determine, I talk myself out of production all the time. I will pull up to a house and be like, this guy's house way too nice. I can't sell it. Before even going in, even asking questions, stupid stuff like that. I walk into a home that's you show up to a guy's house and you're like it's really bad neighborhood, really torn down. And you're like, this fool ain't got no money. I'm already lying to myself about the client. You know what I mean? And so I had to learn early on when I wanted to be good at this, that I could not prejudge the clients, and I couldn't, like, I used to do something called pre-gaming appointments. I hope nobody does this on the call, by the way. So what pre-gaming appointments is, like, let's say, Rami, I called you and I'd be like, hey, Rami, this is Steven. I'm getting back to you about the form, blah, 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 blah. Looks like your date of birth is this. You're like, yep. And now I go, shoot, 32-year-old with a $300,000 mortgage. That's a CBO 100 all day, baby. Calculate the commission. If I sell that appointment, that's like $3,200 in commissions. Like, I'm doing all this. And then what happens? I get to the home and it's never with the product I write anyways, because something, medical condition, different financial situation, whatever it may be. And then almost like I did all that work for nothing. So I stopped pre-gaming appointments. I stopped prejudging appointments. I was like, you know what? Like you said, I'm just going to show up, and how can I help them? Because it might be a small little $17 policy because that's all they can afford. But guess what? At least it's something for them. Or it might be another family that they can afford $200-300 a month. Awesome. Because that's what they can afford. And when we tell our clients, like, the reason why it's not a one size fits all program is because I always say this: health insurance, life insurance is based on age, health, and finance. And those three things will completely change what the options are for our client. And so, dude, I love that, man. I love that, how you serve people in this business, especially our clients, and be able to serve your agents by teaching them how to do the same. Because Rami, I appreciate everything that you shared. Because, like, when you just said that at the end right now, I was like, you said at every level there's design structure for people to help us, and I'm like, you're like in preschool, right? Or then you got your kids. I mean, not your kids. When you got your parents, when you're like newborn, right? And then you got school, and then it's like you got employment, and then you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so I love it, man. Do you have anything else that you want to wrap up with as we wrap up the call?
I just want everyone to know, guys, if you guys want to hit Hall of Fame, whatever your goal is, having a loco, hitting VP, anything you guys can do, you can do that. I mean that, guys. I am not special, truly. I know that I talk fast and I mumble, but I want you guys to really understand that there's nothing different about me than anybody on this call. The only difference is I spend more on leads than you guys do, and I'm still in the office talent today. That's it. And I show up to my appointments. If you guys can do that consistently, I promise you all will be able to hit Hall of Fame in 8 months. You all have the goal you guys want to achieve and the dream that you want and envision. But remember, guys, in order to get to where you need to be, you have to work. No one gets rich overnight. Nothing happens, overnight success. You truly have to, put some sweat equity in this business. I want everyone here, just to hit those phones. It's style day. I want everyone to get 2 more points than you guys had. Everyone on this call, just get 2 more points than what you have today. You can do that, and you guys, you at least accepted my challenge, and then you guys beat me in it.
Absolutely. Man, it's so crazy because, last week when Marisa did the call, it was basically Labor Day. And today is like, 9/11, right? And, one of the things that I learned in this business is, like, I just wanted to outperform the average person. I didn't want to necessarily be the best, because in the beginning, I didn't think I could. Does that make sense? And so, like, I was like, what does all the average people do? Oh, all the average people take it off. They take Labor Day off. They take 9/11, Memorial Day. Or it's a memorial event. We got to, take time off. We got to be able to sell. I'm not saying I don't believe in that stuff. I'm just saying that, like, if 90% of my competition was going to take it off, I was going to work just to get a step ahead. And, like, just to, like, you add those days up over a course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, business don't look the same anymore. You know what I mean? And so, Rami, I appreciate you, bro. I seriously do. If there's anything I can ever do to return the favor, you let me know. And for those of you that are asking, yes, this will be on YouTube later on today because it was that good of an interview. So, Rami, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And if there's anything, if y'all get any value from this, please message him and say thank you. That's the best thing you can do. And the other thing is, like, not just with words, but with, like, production, right? One of the greatest compliments a trainer can get is by you actually implementing the very thing they taught and then showing its proof of the process. So, Rami, thank you so much. Everybody, appreciate you guys for hopping on. And as always, I will see you at the top. Have a great one.